Hi, and welcome to another Three Stooges review. This is the 7th film the Stooges did with Columbia Pictures called Goes the Easel.
We still don't have familiar theme music for the beginning of the short.
It was written by Felix Adler, but this one is much, much better than the past.
He seems to have redeemed himself a bit here.
This is the first one directed by Del Lord. I think he did quite a few of them. We'll find out. It was edited by James Sweeney, and I'm just trying to cross-reference because, here we have one written by Felix Adler that's, actually very good. So let's just get into reviewing it.
Comedy, slapstick, I give it a 3.
I think my rating of 3 comes most directly from the clay fight. When I was a kid, I found this whole sequence to be an absolute riot.
And I do believe when we were kids we emulated this quite a few times.
Yeah, and you would think that it would kind of lose some of its comedic value as I got older, but actually, there's a lot of jokes connected with the clay fight, as well as the reactions on everybody when they get, the clay fight is really a strong slapstick comedy.
Right, and some of the people get whacked.
Which brings us to dialogue. I give the dialogue a 2.
Me too. I wonder if I could have gave it higher marks for dialogue, but
that's I probably should have because again
gave it a 3.
I think the whole clay fight actually depends on the dialogue to be as funny as it is.
Well, I agree with that, and also the girl when they dress up as the girls. That's probably one of the funniest things they've ever done. And you said that before, but the thing is, we only gave it a 2 for dialogue, and maybe we should be giving it a 3. But I don't think I want to change my marks because this isn't one of my favorite episodes, so if I gave it all high marks
then you'd be wrong. So the point is, you know what?
I guess you're right about that.
I'm going to change this to a 3.
I think I am too.
I've always thought of this as not one of the better episodes.
But we're wrong.
Or films. But we're wrong. The fact is, this is very, very funny stuff.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's the plot. I gave the plot a 2. It's very straightforward. They're wrongly accused of stealing something. They're running from a cop and end up in an art school causing havoc. But again, it is one of those shorts where first they're vagabonds and then they're art students.
I think what he's alluding to is we have a turn the episode on its head thing. We have vagabonds and we have art students, and
they're not actually posing as art students.
So again, maybe the plot goes up for me, but I'm not. I for some reason
they're not actually posing as art students. They're just hiding from the cop, and in order to do that,
they must play this act out.
They have to make it they have to blend in with the art students.
I guess you would put it that way.
So I don't know. So actually, the plot. Well, I gave it a 2.
I gave it a 1, but I'm gonna stay with that. I mean, but as I assess this and talk about it, I'm changing my mind here. But
the supporting cast gets a 3.
Yeah, for me too.
Everybody in this is
funny or doing their job.
Yeah, this is an all around pretty good
episode. Yeah.
Performances now. We give the Stooges 2s. Each of us give the Stooges 2s all the way down.
Something's going on here. Do you agree with that?
You know what? I know what you're saying. I would never think that this is one of my favorite episodes. But here's the fact. The fact is that this episode is very funny. So that would mean that we should be giving them 3s, not 2s.
Probably.
I don't know why we're trying to mark this low. This is some of the funniest stuff. As a matter of fact, the scene where they dress up as girls and try to fool the cop into thinking that they're women, so that it's absolutely some of their funniest work.
Right.
So I don't know why we're trying to give this 2s.
And
it goes up. It's 3.
It's interesting.
3. Are you moving to 3?
You know what? I'm going to say this right now. We might have to back up this whole review and
no, we won't. We'll go with it.
We've changed it throughout the whole video.
Right. Because we're trying to market average
when it's really good.
And the fact is, it's one of their best. Yeah, this is kind of crazy. We're basically. I tried to mark this rather average. This one even gets a 3 for Pretty Girls because Phyllis Crane is in it.
Well, I gave it a 2, but still.
Well, for me, I give it a 3. You give it stick with the 2, right?
Yeah, I'm sticking with it.
All right. Phyllis Crane, she's drop dead beautiful, and there's also another woman in the clay fight who's really cute. So, this is just weird. I mean, here...
This is a strange, convoluted review, and I'm not sure it's going to make any sense when it's edited, but we've changed our scorecard throughout the whole thing, and it's just weird. I think me and him have been watching the Stooges for far too long to realize how funny this one is. Right. And when you start to break it down, the reason why we do this is
that's why I'm doing this review thing, to actually analyze these films and say, okay, which ones are my favorite, not based on some... If you were to ask me during just some conversation, I would tell you, yeah, Pop Goes the Easel is not one of my favorites.
It's good, but it's
and
not.
Here's the reality.
Right.
It is one of my favorites. Yeah. I'm under the wrong impression.
Totally.
All right, so my total score is a 23.
And mine is a 21.
I think that puts this episode as the highest rated one we've done so far.
Now, if you were to ask me in a regular conversation how good this one is, I would have panned it a bit. But the scorecard tells me a completely different story. When we first started watching this today to do the review, I thought, gotta sit through this one again.
Found it funnier than ever, really.
Yeah.
Funnier than ever.
Right. And again, that's interesting because this is why we're doing this. Because if that conversation, I would have done the Stooges an injustice in that normal conversation about what's one of my favorites. I would never say Pop Goes the Easel. And I should.
Now I know that this is one of my favorite episodes, that I would show this to somebody who wasn't familiar with the Stooges.
Yes.
And now I know why. Because there are some doggone belly laughs throughout this short.
One of the scenes is one of the funniest things they've ever done.
Everything in this short is high except for the plot. And the only reason that the plot doesn't score high is because it's so simplistic, it's just not very, it's not very involved, there's not much to it. Mm-hmm. But maybe that's part of the reason it's one of the best episodes.
Simplistic is supposed to be perfection, so maybe we're just panning on the plot, because I think they do this a lot.
I'd also like to clarify something. One of the things I'm personally trying to achieve by doing these reviews is a chronological analysis. I have a thing for chronology, and that's why I'm doing a chronological analysis. This review, for example, is based on the 7th film the Three Stooges did with Columbia Pictures, not how it relates to, episodes that came after it, but how does it relate to episodes that came before it, and only films that came before it. And that's why we're not afraid to give an episode low marks, because let's face it, look, if a Three Stooges episode is not very good, then it's not very good. If it is really good, and again, this was a great example of what's going on here. We tried to stick this film into a preconceived notion that we had about it for years. And when you actually say, look, I'm going to honestly do this review based on this rating system, it turns out that this is probably their best film so far. And so far is the whole point, because of chronology. We're not basing this review on
later years.
We're basing it on up till this point.
Right.
Again, I just have a thing for chronology. I love it. I love looking back at something and analyzing it chronologically.
Right.
So keep in mind, this is all about chronology. We're not going to discuss the future of the Stooges.
And opinions. Don't forget while you're watching this and we're talking and spouting all kinds of crap that you don't think, blah, 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 you guys don't understand this and that. But we only understand what we understand.
Right.
And if you have something to say, we want to hear it in the comments.
So comment, and don't forget to rate this video, and don't forget to subscribe to us so that you will know.
Because we're going to do 190 of these, so the next one is...
The next one is Uncivil Warriors.
Okay.
And we won't say a word about it until after we've watched it.
Again.
So I think we're done. I don't think we have anything more to say.
No. We said a lot. We got to do a lot of editing.
Yeah. Uncivil Warriors next time on Three Stooges Review.
We're out of here.